We do a lot of things about people's careers on What's It Like, because I always think that's interesting. This is the first time I've ever had an occasion, and probably the first time I ever will have an occasion, to say, what's it like spending 63 years professionally in baseball? And I'm asking Roland Hemond, now of the Diamondbacks, and your official title is?
Special Assistant to the President and CEO of the Diamondbacks.
That sounds like a really big deal. You get in free and everything, don't you?
Yeah, I get a second row seat every game.
But having been a part of the Braves organizations, the Angels, long time with the White Sox, and a lot of folks watching right now remember you from Chicago. Tell me the fundamental difference that you see in the game then when you broke in and now.
Well, we're able to see baseball on television of any clubs. I mean, in the old days, before television, there were players that you would never have seen on the field. Now, the product of television enables all of us to see National League players, American League players, or whatever the show might be, or the game that possesses.
Is that advantageous to baseball?
Well, yes, it seems that it has, because the revenues have increased tremendously because of television.
And so have the salaries.
Yeah, you're right there, too.
Can you remember what the average salary was, for example, on the White Sox?
Well, like we signed Carlton Fisk as a free agent for 5 years at $600,000 per year.
Carlton Fisk,
Yeah.
$600,000.
Yes, but that was over 5 years. So, but he brought great thrills to our fans. The Red Sox had a technicality problem. They failed tendering his contract one day late, and that made him a free agent. And we were able to sign him. And then I felt sorry. The opening day the next year, or that next season, was in Boston, and I'd been a Red Sox fan, and I agonized for the front office for their defense, except Carlton Fisk hit a 3-run homer in the top of the 8th inning. So I kissed my sister, who was with me, and ran down and kissed Carlton's wife. So there was a celebration. Then we come home, and opening day for the Chicago portion, and he hits a grand slam in the first inning off Pete Vukovich.
You know, what amazes me is I can ask you about an individual player, an individual game, an era in baseball, and you remember the most astounding details. But I wonder if you can come up with an answer for this question. You were a White Sox guy for a lot of years.
Yeah, 15 years.
Explain the success of the Cubs to me.
Well, I had no animosities with the Cubs organization or all the people that work with them. I was sympathetic that they haven't been able to put a team together to win a World Series.
But they haven't won for so long.
Yeah.
They haven't won appreciably for so long, and yet they still pack Wrigley Field.
Well, it's fun at the old ballpark, and Bill Veeck set that tempo. As a youngster, his father was the general manager of the team, and Bill, as a youngster, walking around Wrigley Field, he's the one that he was challenged to beautify the field somewhat by Mr. Wrigley. So he had his groundskeepers and floodlights, and they put up the vines in one night. So the next day when Mr. Wrigley walked in, wow, this is nice. So that's the way Bill operated.
And if you talk to anybody who's ever spent any time in Chicago, they don't just talk about Wrigley Field. They don't just talk about Ernie Banks. They talk about the vines. They remember the vines.
Yes.
On those outfield walls. Listen, before we have to leave, there's an important question that a lot of people wonder about, and I'd like a theory at least of yours. Why is it that there seem to be fewer African-American baseball players and more Latinos playing in the majors?
Well, the Latinos is because they're able to play year-round in their countries. That helps a great deal. And so at 16 years old, they've played a lot of ball games, and they're able to handle themselves very well when they get the opportunity here at the
They
base.
just have more experience.
That's right.
Now listen, you want to talk to a guy with experience? If you happen to see Roland Hemond walking around Chase Field, just step up, say, hey, you know what? I saw you talking to that Irish guy, and that's interesting. And then ask him a question, any question at all about baseball, and he'll have an answer, including the one that followed mine when I said, hey, Roland Hemond, what's it like?